Hello again, my dudes, and welcome to the very last Lies of P boss guide. This is the guide for the Nameless Puppet boss, which is the very last boss in the game if you decide not to give your heart to Geppetto, which I would strongly encourage you to do so. Don't give him your heart, it's quite precious. And you actually get to fight the toughest boss in the game, and by the end of this video I will show you why you should actually go down the pathway, at least in your very first playthrough, of fighting the Nameless Puppet. This is because the weapon you get out of that boss fight that you can acquire from the NPC that sells you weapons with boss souls, it's quite strong. Now, as you can see, I'm making a few changes to my character as I'm going down the elevator from Simon to the Nameless Puppet. The reason why I'm making these changes is obvious. So, as Simon counts as a human, the Nameless Puppet, the puppet name says it all, counts as a puppet. So he's weaker to electricity, therefore I am using electricity instead of the acid that I used against Manus. And I think it is important for you guys to see me making these changes as preparation for the fight, because if you prepare for the fight, you will have a much easier time when it comes to whatever boss you are fighting in the game. So if you're fighting puppets, bring electricity. If you are fighting carcass, bring fire. If you're fighting humans, bring acid. Now, I am about to fight the Nameless Puppet, so electricity is the way to go. You can always equip some throwable objects as well. You don't have to, but I find that it does help along the line. But let's refuse this SOB, our hearts, because we are now human. Now, strategies for this guy. His swings, I would strongly recommend that you try to block them with the Aegis shield. But at the same time, don't use your Legion Guard too much during phase 1. The reason being, during phase 2 you will need this way more than you will need it in phase 1. In phase 1, I would recommend that you use it mostly to block his fury attacks and try to perfect guard through them. Every chance that you have, try to land a charged R2 on this guy, because he will easily get stunned, and you will build his stun meter so much that you will actually get fatal strikes more often than you probably would imagine, considering this is the hardest boss in the game. You can see that I actually got greedy here, and I was severely punished for doing so, but then I did manage to not only land my charged R2, but a second charged R2 before I did land my fatal strike. As you can see, I have only used 2 pulse cells so far, and I am not even trying hard not to be hit or to avoid damage. I am just playing safely enough to be able to make it through the fight without consuming too much Legion from the Aegis shield. This because, as I said, I want to save as much as possible for the second phase. You saw me using 2 charge attacks. Now here you saw I was trying to do the perfect guard by spamming the button instead of just doing it at the right time. Here, as you saw, I landed the charged R2, and when I did, he got slightly stunned. Now, here, when he does his fury attack, try to perfect guard it, because he will get stunned every time, and it will give you an opening to land the charged R2. And you want to land those charged R2s, especially during this stage, because it's quite hard to get good opportunities for damage. You see here I'm just guarding instead of using the shield, because I don't want to use the shield when he's not doing fury attacks. I only want to use the shield and try to perfect guard when he's doing fury attacks or when he's coming from above, because if he hits you from above, you tend to be pushed backwards too much. But here we go. You see how he got stunned? That gives me the perfect opportunity for the R2, which gives him the window for the Fatal Strike. But before I do the Fatal Strike, I land a second R2 fully charged. Now, I buff my weapon with electricity. This will boost my damage and it will increase the amount of electricity damage he takes. As you see, I decided to avoid that hit completely, so it gives me enough room to run to him and do another charged R2 attack. Now, as you can see, I made a little mistake here and I got punished for it. Most importantly, I do remind you not to panic. If he gets away from you, that's actually a good thing, because it will give you enough time to rethink your strategy. Now, you see I actually made a few mistakes here and I nearly paid the price and nearly died. But again, not panicking, I'm rethinking my strategy. I see that he's doing some continuous combos. I wait for the perfect opportunity, it presents itself, I block his attack, and I land a couple of charged R2s. I did lose some health in the process, but it was worth the risk. Now, when he does his plunging forward, his attack, do keep in mind that counts as a grab attack, so you won't be able to block it if it hits you. Now, blocking his attacks, I do take a little bit of damage, but I do take the risk to do the charged attack. I take the chance to charge my Legion arm with a Legion magazine. I rebuff my weapon and I do another charge R2 and a second charge R2, and he's pretty much over. Now he decides to go for the Fury, he gets surely stunned, and I finish the job with that massive fully charged R2 for the kill. Now, thank you so much for watching so far, but I got a little bonus for those of you who have just finished New Game and are now getting ready for New Game Plus. As I said in the beginning of the video, the weapon that you can acquire from this boss, it's absolutely amazing. And if you are about to embark in New Game Plus for the first time, or if you are going to start New Game Plus Plus, for example, and you haven't tried this weapon just yet, I strongly recommend that you do so. However, let me point out that it is very important that you keep your weight below being slightly heavy. You want to be normal weight so you can keep your stamina regeneration and your dodging and your mobility. Now, Proof of Humanity. That is the thing you want to grab and you want to try if you haven't just yet. Now, as you can see by its stats, it scales B with motivity and B with technique. So it's kind of a hybrid weapon. Now, that's not the best part. The best part is that if you make a hybrid build, you will do a lot of damage. And not only you will do a lot of damage, this weapon has a lot of critical. It has a critical rate of 30, which might not sound like a lot, but when you start using the weapon and you start realizing how many crits you will actually be landing, it's absolutely insane. I strongly recommend that if you are about to start New Game Plus, you take this weapon with you and you fully upgrade it before you start New Game Plus. Also, if like me you were using a motivity build, now would be a good time to go to the statue and respec your character to be a hybrid of motivity and technique, and that you level them simultaneously for best results in terms of damage. For those who have made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching, and for all of those who are new to the channel, please consider subscribing. This has been Kadima with Lies of P. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much. Cheerio!